Welcome back, or welcome to my channel. This is Stacy from Stacy Makes. Today's topics, there's going to be a few. So first off, I'm going to talk about my take on pattern designing, and then I'm going to be reviewing a couple patterns. I asked you guys for some underrated designers or patterns that you guys would like to see featured, so I picked a few of those and I have them here today. And I made them, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on those. And then I'm also going to talk about what I made this week. Let's get into the pattern designing portion, and let me give you a little background history. And if this bores you, just, feel free to fast forward. So rewind about 20 years, I bought and owned a cloth diapering company that manufactured and made handmade cloth diapers. So I am a seamstress. I owned this business for 12 years, mostly for the first six, 7 years. I owned it by myself, and then it expanded to a point where I needed to form an LLC. My family came in to help, which was amazing. In there, I designed and drafted and tested every single pattern that we made for our company. And when you're doing something like that, and just in general, it was like, you needed to make something that was unique, not maybe on the market yet, a shape or a style that is different, that makes you stand out. It's not just, oh, this is a copy of so-and-so's. And then along the way in there somewhere, I designed a unique feature that we sought a patent for. So we hired a patent attorney, and we went through this process of writing and drawing and drafting things about this design that made it unique. And I was trying to get this feature patented so that nobody else could do what we were doing. And in that process, I learned a lot about a patent, what features and things does it have to qualify for in order for a patent to be issued, and so on. And in this process, there was really two things that stuck out. The idea, what you were trying to patent, had to be new and novel. It could not obviously be exactly like somebody else's. And it had to be not obvious, was kind of the term that was used. It had to be, you can't just take something that was 4 feet tall and make it 3 feet 11 inches and be like, this is unique. So you had to be so many steps away and have your own unique features from other people's patents, not necessarily anything out on the market, but things that were actually patented by other people. So you might find this design in something that somebody else was doing but wasn't patented. Maybe you didn't even know about it. They do all that research. When you hire a patent attorney, there's patent researchers. When you file it, there's researchers in the patent offices that take your designs, your drawings, and they just dig through all of the records of all of the other patents that are issued, and they try to find out if you're too close and so on. Long story short though, we revised the patent several times, and in the process of doing that, obviously it costs money every single time you did that. And we ended up not applying for the last revision. We sold our company, and we just moved on from the business altogether. Had nothing to do with the patent, obviously. But anyway, so what I learned there is kind of the drafting, the pattern designing, and I also designed sewing patterns that I sold on my own under Apple Tree Boutique at one point. And what I learned through all that process was just kind of my own process for designing a pattern and making sure that it is something that is unique, that I'm not copying, and so on. So when I design a pattern, I look in the market, first of all, like when I decided to do my very first pattern, which was a pig, Sammy the pig, I looked at crochet pig patterns on Pinterest, on Google, on Etsy, for anything that looked and was shaped like mine was. I didn't buy any of them. I had never made a pig by anybody at this point, and so I knew that I wasn't taking somebody else's pattern and just changing one tiny thing about it and making it my own. So I knew that within myself, but then I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't just going to release it and it looked exactly like what somebody else had already done. So that was kind of my first step, was to just kind of do that research. my second step is, you know, what if you do find something that is semi-close, even if you had no idea it existed in the market before you had this idea, is something about mine unique? Is it, you know, the way that it sits, the way the feet, head, something is shaped, you know, so something like that. So that's kind of my own little thoughts on pattern designing. Yes, in this world of pattern designing, you can take somebody's pattern, add another row, give it a new name, and you can release it and nobody stops you. It's not like there's patents or trademarks or copyrights on specific features of somebody's pattern. And literally there are people that buy people's patterns, change the names on the PDFs and release them as their own exactly the way they are and copy it. So there are some copyright rules obviously to doing that, but there's nothing in the rule book besides, you know, having morals and values that say you can't change something from a chain 1 to a chain 2 and then just call it your own. So it's a lot of work to design a pattern. It takes a lot of drafting, testing. You actually physically have to make the product and take time to do that. And then you're writing it. I test my patterns, obviously, with pattern testers. I write them out. I revise it, taking pictures, it's doing releases. And there's still even knowing in my heart of hearts that my pattern is my own thoughts and my own unique design. There's always still that little bit of you that worries that someone's going to accuse you of copying, even though you know you didn't. And so there's just a little bit of that, obviously, that fear. And I guess that's why I go through all those steps before I do release something, is so that I know in my heart of hearts, no matter what I might get accused of doing, I haven't gotten accused of doing anything, but no matter what might come up, that I know that I did my research. I looked at other patterns and things people were doing that were similar. And I knew in my heart of hearts that I felt like it was unique enough. It was enough steps away. It was not obvious, and it was its own thing. I've also came up with ideas that I had were not inspired by anything anywhere. Was just like, hey, will you make this? And I'm like, oh yeah, I could do that, and I can make it look like this, blah, blah, blah. And I go to research it and realize that really somebody else has already done it. And I go by their pattern, because why start from ground zero and write your own when someone else has already done all the work? So I like to support pattern designers, the creativity, the work that goes into doing that. I buy a ton of paid patterns. I also use a lot of free ones. You know, it's a lot of work that they put into what they do for the ones that are authentic and genuine, obviously. So part 2 of my 3-part video today is what patterns I bought, some of them free and paid for and made, and what I thought about them. So I'm going to do 3 basic things with mine. I'm going to talk about the clarity of the pattern itself and the way it was written. And I'm going to kind of use a scale of thumbs up, it was great, it was super clear, to kind of neutral. I mean, there was a couple times, because I'm an experienced crocheter, that I was like, and I kind of did something and I'm like, it's got to be this. You know, I kind of knew that based on designing patterns and making enough. And then, or a thumbs down for it was not clear at all and I pretty much had to make the whole thing up. And then I'm going to talk about the outcome, whether or not I liked the finished product that I did create out of the pattern. Thumbs up, neutral, you know, and obviously a thumbs down. And then the marketability for me is important, because everything that I make usually goes to a market and I try to sell it. So that's stuff that I feel like other people will be attracted to, but then I can also get my time and material back, and I can charge a fair price for the time and energy and materials that I put into it. So let's get started. And the first pattern I'm really going to talk about today is, because it is my daughter's pattern, which is Stella the Sleepy Dragon, from Old Soul Factory Crochet. And this is my Stella that I made. My daughter released this pattern, wrote it, tested it. I was not involved in any of that. I had not made her pattern before. And I don't tell anybody, but she gave it to me for free. So anyway, so this is Stella. Pattern clarity. I had 0 issues with the pattern. I would say it is an advanced beginner or an intermediate pattern. It is not something that you could just probably jump into as a brand new beginner. But the clarity of the pattern itself and the pictures that were provided were pretty clear. The outcome, so pattern clarity, great. for an intermediate, maybe neutral for a beginner. Outcome, I mean, obviously, look at this thing. It is gorgeous. I used Sweet Snuggles Light with a loops and set thread fuzzy yarn. Then Sweet Snuggles for the spikes. There's an option for spikes or wings. The spikes make it look a little bit more like maybe what you would envision a baby Loch Ness monster would look like, while the wings make it look more like a dragon. But as far as outcome, thumbs up. Marketability, I would say to get my money back, I would have to probably charge $35 for this. And it would take a unique customer. I'm not saying that it wouldn't sell. I'm not going to try to sell it. This is Stella. Okay. Pattern number 2 was suggested by somebody, and this is the Peewee Birds pack from Not Jaded Co. A pack of, I'll try to put a screenshot of every pattern up here, but it's literally a pack of a bunch of tiny little birds. I made 2 of the different animals. I picked out the ones that I thought I would enjoy the most. First up was this flamingo. He's tiny though. I mean, he's tiny. And then the second one I tried was Otis the owl. Okay, tiny. Oh my gosh, these little feet. Okay, so pattern clarity, a thumbs up for sure. Did not have any issues reading this pattern. As far as the outcome, I mean, for the time, I had to pull, 4 colors for this one, 3 colors for this one. Very, 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 very small. And you can maybe make it with different yarn and make them obviously bigger. They're both very, very small. They're Peewee. I mean, they're supposed to be. So outcome, I was kind of, I'm not like in love with these guys so much that I'm going to go make a bajillion of them. What it looks like, I'm kind of neutral, and then marketability, I'm going to say I'm neutral to thumbs up. I mean, depending on your market again, but this pattern really could be marketable. There was a lot of different options. You'll have to go check it out. There was a cockatiel and a duck and I can't remember, a penguin, obviously these. So, okay, that's my thoughts on this pattern. Next up is something that I see a lot of people doing, and that is the fruit snails from Garden Hill Market. Again, I'll put the pattern up here, and I decided to do Strawbert, which is the strawberry fruit snail. And this is Strawbert. Pattern clarity, thumbs up. It was amazing. Had 0 issues with this pattern. Outcome, I mean, look at this guy. He's adorable. This is Parfait Chunky. Marketability, I'm giving it a thumbs up with the thoughts that I'm not quite sure how it's going to market. I would probably have to sell him for $15 between the materials and that amount of time. If it takes me an hour, I'm usually charging at least $20 for something. So, I mean, I think he's a $15 pattern. So, but he's small, so I'm not really sure, but he's also unique and adorable. So I'm hoping the marketability is high because I would love to see like a little basket full of Strawberts going to my strawberry festival in June. So thumbs up really all around. Next up is a cat. I'm trying to find a great cat. I get asked about cats. There are tons of cat lovers out there that just are cat obsessed. So this pattern is from Teresa's Crochet Shop. This is Cinnabon, and oh my gosh, just like, look at this. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Isn't this just adorable? Okay, so pattern clarity, Teresa's patterns. I bought this brand new, hadn't made it before for this little video. For this video, I'm trying to find obviously a cat. Teresa's patterns are amazing. I think I have a few of them. So pattern clarity, thumbs up. Outcome, obviously, thumbs up. I mean, this is just adorable. And marketability, this is not a no-sew pattern. Again, I don't mind sewing on pieces and making pieces for to make something adorable. I think I'm going to try to sell this for $24, even though it is small. So I'm hoping my cat lovers don't mind the $24 price tag. This cat, thumbs up, and I think it'll be a thumbs up, depending on the market, obviously, if that price range, and the cat lovers will come out and still pay the price for this guy. So, next up is this corgi pattern. Oh my, look at this guy. This corgi, I'll put the pattern up here and who it's by. I don't know that I could say it. It's very, very long. It's like, this is a small guy and the pattern prints and it's like 13 pages long. I think it could have been a little more compacted with some abbreviations or bolds for color changes or whatnot, because there is a lot of color changes in this guy. So pattern clarity, I'm kind of neutral on that. As far as the outcome, I mean, I think he's adorable. Definitely adorable. As far as marketability, I'm kind of neutral. This did take way longer than it probably looks like it might take somebody based on its size because of the concentration of the color changes. Anyway, so pattern clarity, neutral, outcome, thumbs up, marketability because of the time and the size that it ended up being. I don't know if I'll be able to sell a bunch of these. I'm going to price him at $16, I think. Took me maybe right at an hour. Okay. Mini Cow. Nooks_hooks. Mini Cow is a free pattern on Instagram. Pattern clarity, thumbs up. 0 issues with this pattern and how it is written. So that is great. Outcome. I think, so my one thing about this is that my husband didn't know what it was. And then my daughter and my son, my younger daughter and son, knew exactly what it was when they saw it. Well, part of that is because this ear is really hard to see because it's in the black. So I probably, if I was going to go back, I would make this ear the cream color and make this ear black. But between the color changes is a super easy pattern to follow and it's super, super tiny. I probably sell it. I mean, I think marketability wise, great. I mean, if you had a whole bin full of these and a sign saying mini cows and people love cows but don't want to spend $35 on my large cows. This mini cow, I think I'm going to do 10 on. I think I can do 10. If I was going to do this again, I think he's half hour or less. Marketability, thumbs up. But also I need to take it to a market and I'm going to modify a little bit of this, I think, if I do it again. So great free pattern. Thank you so much for creating it and sharing it for free. Last one is this cute little Highland Cow by the Friendly Red Fox. So this guy is a free pattern, believe it or not. I got it off of her blog. The Friendly Red Fox has a blog full of free patterns. So I went there. Sitting cow, pattern clarity, great. I had zero issues reading this pattern. It was very clear. As far as the outcome, I think it is adorable. I don't think anyone's going to question really what this is and it is adorable. It's like, it kind of sits, but its little feet are, I don't know if you can see that. They're kind of tacked up. Did she like the way she did her hair? You actually create the hair totally separate in a chain, and then you actually just tack it in and on, which I thought was kind of a neat concept. So thumbs up for pattern clarity, thumbs up for the outcome. I would say it took me an hour and a half. I mean, this is pieces, these are pieces, this is a piece, horns are a piece, ears are a piece. You make the body and the heads all one. Marketability, I think I'm going to have to charge $25 for this guy. And I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what people think. And if I end up making a whole bunch more. But I really enjoyed this pattern. I really appreciate designers who make free patterns as well. Okay, that's my last one. So if you stayed for that whole thing, please tell me your thoughts below if you've tried any of these patterns and loved them, or if there's one that you saw that you're like, yep, I've got to go buy that because I've got to try that. Which one is your favorite down in the comments? I love my community. I love this community. Really, I enjoy watching or interacting with you guys. It's just amazing to me that I've put this channel up not that long ago, and just to do something on the side and share about my journey and what I do, and just to give some tips and tricks here and there. And it has just already grown much more than I ever thought it was. I remember when I was like, oh my gosh, 7 people have watched my video and followed me. And now I don't remember, as if I take this right now, there's 700 and some of you guys, and it's just amazing that 700 some of you guys have subscribed, and even more than that actually watched the videos. But anyway, it's just a passion for me. So if you do enjoy this, like and subscribe, leave some comments. I'd love to talk to y'all, even here or on my Instagram, and it's just amazing. Okay, so I'm all reset and ready to go over what I made this week. So we had our market on Saturday. If you didn't watch that video, I'll leave a link up below, but or at the very end of this video, I'll connect it so that you can watch that video. Sold $800 some worth of inventory and kind of fresh in my shelves. So I have these metal shelves in my craft room that were full, and then I have a cube thing that every time I make stuff, I put them up in those things and just kind of keeps me motivated. I like to get them full. So when I came back from the craft show, they were completely empty, and which is kind of motivating in some ways, but also sad. But I do know that there's, you know, what is it, $1,200 or $1,400 of inventory downstairs in bags ready for the market as well. So I can't forget that. Let's get started. Okay, so first off, this is my this is the donkey. This is the donkey from Milo the Mouse. This was actually for a custom order. Someone reached out to me in January asking if I could make a mule, which I'm like, well, is it the same thing as a donkey? Because I have a donkey pattern. But anyway, we settled on this guy. I just finished him actually yesterday, and he'll be shipping off to Tennessee. Oops. But thank you to Ashley for that order. He's a fun make. And so I did make this, but I'm not going to include him into my inventory for the market because he's obviously already sold. So that was one of my makes this week. Baby turtles. You've seen this pattern if you've watched my videos. You've seen this pattern. I've talked about this pattern before. It's at 2 people. I'll put the link in the description. LMS Art and Co-Fire Co, I think. But anyway, this is a free Instagram little pattern. I sat and made the 3 heads. It's the only thing you really have to sew, but you sew it into the round. And then I sat and just used gumdrop and made all the shells and made these guys. So made 3 of those, and I sold them for $8 a piece. And Milo the Mouse is the next in the series. I made 2 Milos. This one I made just to run through the pattern one more time. This is Sweet Snuggles, and then this is the Milo that I made in Parfait Chunky while I was working on the actual pattern pictures for the testers. And so this is with testers today, but I made 2 of those. I'll sell them for $10 a piece. This little gumdrop, this is gumdrop yarn from Premier. You can see he changed kind of in the middle of my tentacles. Made him on my lunch break. Next thing is this pig. So this is actually the pattern from Mom Stitchetti for Betsy the bunny, which if you've watched my videos or my Instagram, you've seen Betsy the bunny. She's adorable, has little overalls on. And she doesn't have a pig pattern yet, but I'm like, I could totally make this into a pig. I just shortened the ears. I probably should have shortened 1 more row, and I freehanded the snout. And instead of overalls, I started the color change of the body, like up here, and then did the straps, and then made this little ruffle. So he's like a pig in a skirt. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Anyway, so it's just a modification of Mom Stitchetti's Betsy the bunny pattern. And I'm going to sell this for $32. I made a mini tumbler, one of my lunch break makes this week. Which if you haven't seen, my free crochet tutorial is out for this. It's on YouTube. So these whip up really, really fast, like 10 minutes on my lunch break. Fred the turtle. I made 3 of this guy. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh. If you saw my market video, you saw that I sold out of every single turtle that I had. So it's going to be my mission to make sure that I have lots of turtles stocked for the next show. And as you also saw one of my other pattern videos where I talked about things anyway, Fred the Sea Turtle is a free pattern on YouTube from CJ Design to tack the head up. Because if you don't, he's really floppy, which by design is probably the way but anyway, I like it up tacked a little bit more, and then they kind of just sit like this, and his head's a little more propped up. So adorable. Those are $24 a piece at my show. And last but not least, again, after the market, I was just like, I started on this the night before the market, but I wanted just to do some things that were just because I've seen other people make them. Not necessarily maybe marketability, but so that's what a lot of those patterns were from the earlier part of the video. But this cow pattern I'd seen everywhere, and I'm like, totally obsessed with it. I'm like, I've got to make one of these, and I know that it's got a bajillion pieces, but anyway, this is the Sitting Cow, Camille, the Sitting Cow, by Jen's Crafty Creations. This is all Sweet Snuggles Light, and oh my gosh, I'm completely obsessed. Look at this guy. The body and the head are all one piece, and otherwise you're making 2 front legs, you're making 2 back legs, you're making a muzzle, you're making horns, you're making ears, you're sewing it all on later. But it was 10 times worth it. I would say this guy took me a little over 2 hours. I'll do 45, I think. You want to make sure that there's a lot of material here too. And I think it only took me over 2 hours because one, I did it in a few sessions. My hands were hurting and I was just doing it for fun. I was watching TV while I was doing it. And it's the first time doing the pattern. So, oh my gosh, it's just adorable. I'm obsessed. So that is everything I made this week. That is $349 worth of inventory, including the custom that I made in this last week. 317 of that's actually going to market because of the custom that I made. I have a system where I have like tiny, which is like $5 to $7 range, small, which is $8 to $14, medium, which is $15 to $24, large is $25 plus, and then jumbo's $40 plus. 2 tinies, 9 smalls, 6 mediums, 2 larges, and then what I would call a jumbo because she's 45 or more. Okay. So I made 20 items total that are going to be added to my inventory in a week. Hopefully you enjoyed the pattern designing take at the very beginning. And again, that's just me personally, what I do for my own thoughts and feelings. And then hopefully you enjoyed the review of some other people's patterns. Again, my take, and then obviously what I made this week. So if you do enjoy content like this, please like this video, subscribe to this channel. It really helps the channel out. I know that you probably hear that a bajillion times in other people's videos. Obviously, subscribing helps you get notifications for when I do post new videos on this channel. So like, subscribe, leave a comment below, maybe on my favorite thing I made this week or about the pattern designing take that I had at the beginning of this video, and we'll chat then. And I think that's all I have. Happy crocheting, guys.